welcome Headington School to chapel prayers in the park. You may hear a bit of a dull hum in the background. That's the A40 over there. I may be distracted by dogs and walkers walking past, but what the heck. We're going to try and do this in one go. I was reminded on Friday by Mrs. Jordan of that story of the pessimist, the realist and the optimist, and she gave a really compelling account of why we need to be realists, accept the situation we're in, but positively go forward, making all those adjustments we need to make. And this is one of them, to do remote prayers. But that got me thinking nautically, thinking about being on the water, beautiful water behind, very calm. I want to think about the calmness after the storm. But I grew up on the coast. I was born in Poole in Dorset and had a number of fantastic times and fantastic summers on the sea. One time though that wasn't quite so good is when I went out with my brothers and a family friend, and the storm rightly kicked up. I'd never experienced seasickness up to that point and didn't really know what it was, and I was quite young. So we then had the pleasure, after we got back onto dry land, of going out to a restaurant. Again, I just hadn't really worked out what was going on, and when we'd ordered the food and the food was brought, I then shared with everyone a great eruption. I guess it wasn't the best thing for me, certainly wasn't the best thing for the restaurant and those who were there as well. And it's a place I don't think I've ever been back to. But there we go, we have moments. But I'd been on the water since, and it's been calm. So I'm not going to chart my whole experience of going on water just from that one experience. There is calmness after the storm. A great experience I had way back was when I had white river rafting, kind of whitewater rafting on the River Nile. That's where you go down these grade 5 or so rapids. I think it might have been 5, 6. They were crazy. And the guy at the back is steering you, and you're actually really safe. But it's all quite contrived. He flips you out and you go underwater. You've got your life jacket on, it's all fine. But for about 15 seconds, you are underwater doing somersaults. And you don't know if, well, you feel like you don't know if you're going to come back up to breathe again. Of course you do. And within minutes, you're drifting down on now calm water. It was an amazing experience, and I'll remember it till I die. But basically, I remembered those moments of sheer panic and then those moments of sheer serenity. It reminds me of a story that Matthew, Mark and Luke in the Gospels tell of Jesus. They go out on the Sea of Galilee. You know, the people that Jesus hung out with, many of his disciples were experienced fishermen. They really knew their trade and they knew their sea. But they went out and all was calm, and it was so calm that Jesus went to sleep. But a storm kicked up, and I guess this was no storm like no ordinary storm. It was a storm that actually resulted in the disciples waking Jesus up. How he was still asleep, I have no idea. But waking him up and saying, "We are terrified. We are going to die. Don't you care? Will you do something about this?" You know, it must have been a heck of a storm for them to have reacted in this way. But they did what we all do when we're in storms, or what I feel we should all do. They did the thing that comes really naturally in a place of panic. They sought out peace, the Prince of Peace, and they prayed. And I've only got one point that I want to make today into this reading. I think there's a whole measure of other stories that we can bring in, or other points, and I probably will do in the next few weeks or into next term. But this one point is, their reaction was a prayer. They went to God and they said, "Where are you? Don't you care?" Because they went to Jesus and said, "What are you doing? Don't you care?" Now, spoiler alert, Jesus of course did do something, and they all did survive that day, and there was peace. He is Prince of Peace. But I think prayer is a really natural response to panic. Even if not to panic, then just concern, to crisis, to storms. What they were doing by saying to Jesus, "Don't you care? Do something," is praying. And prayer is nothing if it's not being honest. God can cope with us saying why, where, what. He can cope with us being incredibly honest and saying, don't you care? And there are prayers all over the Bible, particularly in a book called Psalms, which will say, God, I look at the skies and I see the beauty of your creation. You're amazing. There'll be prayers in the Bible and Psalms that say, your love endures forever. But there will also be prayers and Psalms in the Bible that say, God, have you forsaken me? Where are you? It's really natural to pray honest prayers. In fact, prayers should only be honest. And you may be someone who's never prayed, but I'd encourage you to try. But also to pray outward, to pray for others. You see, I think prayer changes things, but it also changes us. It makes us more like the one we're praying to, looking out beyond ourselves to the needs of others. By praying for others, we may find that we ourselves are compelled to become the answer to their prayers. So in this time of concern, of storms, of choppy waters, and there will be still waters ahead, don't worry. But in this time of choppy waters, go to the one who can say, peace, be still. I am with you. You're not forgotten. You're not abandoned. I'm here with you. But it's okay to say, God, where are you? It's okay to ask those questions. It's just, I believe the answer is here, right now with you. So I'm just going to lead in a prayer and encourage you to pray. Let's pray. Lord God, thank you for today. Thank you for this beautiful day. But in the midst of this beauty, there is hardship and difficulty. And we ask that we would know the answer to the question, where are you? Be with us now. Be with those we love. Be with those who care for us. And help us to pray. Amen.